Project Cars. Is it worth a buy? Let's read. Project Cars is the ultimate driver journey. Guided, tested and approved by a passionate community of racing fans and real-life drivers, Project Cars represents the next generation of racing simulation as the ultimate combination of fan desire and developer expertise. Guys, I was a bit apprehensive about this because this game looked very in-depth and complicated, and I just can't be arsed with too much complication. I'm at that age in my life where I kind of hand over the instruction manual to new electronic gadgets to my son and he just like knows. But anyway, I had a look at this and wow, what can I say? This game is without a shadow of a doubt the best racing game I've ever played, and I've played a lot of them, believe me. It very much reminded me of Formula 1 Grand Prix on the Amiga. That's going back probably over 20 years. That was a game I played to death. I pretty much knew most of the circuits, the car setups. I was heavily into Formula 1 in the old days of Nigel Mansell and the turbos and all that era. Now Formula 1's boring, it's just a procession really. It's too dumbed down. Probably got blue circles. No. But anyway, Project Cars, let's get into this because there is so much in this game. First of all, I hate the UI. I just hate it. The option UI looks like something from Windows 8. It's just, no, it's awful. I don't like it. That's the only thing I don't like about the game. I like everything else about the game. I like the car selection, the track selection, the controls, the physics, the sound, the graphics, the feeling, the handling, the in-depth tuning, the graphic options, the sound options, the races, the meetings, the options, and the options. And the reason I've said options 3 times is because there are options for options on top of the options, and there's options for the options that's on top of the options that's on the options. There is options. Options. You can do everything. You can tweak the size of the driver's penises if you... No, you can't. That's going a bit too far. But you can tweak pretty much everything. You can set up a race on whatever circuit you want, with as many cars as you want, at whatever level you want, with whatever weather you want, with whatever reality you want. Damage, well, I'll have a bit of damage, but not too much damage. Oh, actually, no, I don't want any damage at all, but we'll have fuel. Oh, second thoughts, no, we'll not have fuel, we'll have damage, but only a little bit of damage. In fact, no, we'll take damage off, but we'll allow for mechanical faults to happen, and we'll allow for pit stops. Shall we have pit stops? Hang on, we'll have 20 drivers. No, we'll have 30. Or shall we have 40? You know, you can just... That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. You can just do whatever you want with this game. It is so flexible. It's as flexible as a flexible thing that's very flexible. That's what we're talking about with Project Cars. It is tailored for everybody. I don't care if you're a woman driver. Mac, you can't say that. You can't say that. You used to be able to say that. You can't now. Alright. I don't care if you're a shit fucking driver. Now people are going to think you're saying that in place of women drivers. I don't care if you're not a very good driver. Nah, you've done it now. I'll have to delete that. I'll note to self, delete sexist joke. Right. It doesn't matter what your level of driving is. This game is good for you because you can tailor it specifically for... I've got nothing against women drivers. Some of the women drivers are really, really good. I used to be a driving instructor and I taught a lot of women. In fact, my best ever pupil was a woman. She gave me a great blowjob. Mac, you can't! Mac! She was my best pupil for the wrong reasons. Mac, don't... Would you just... The game is fabulous. Honestly, guys, it brought me back to the olden days of Formula 1 Grand Prix. I raced around the circuit called Monza in Italy, and I took out a Formula A, which is like the Formula 1, and within about 2 hours I was absolutely in my element with this. I did a stream of my first go at it, and it was a bit all over the place, but once I got practicing it was amazing. But nothing prepared me for the sheer exhilaration of putting on the Oculus Rift. When I wore the Oculus Rift with my Ferrari 430 steering wheel and pedals, I could have cried tears of joy. I was, for the first time in my life, in a Formula 1 racing car. It was unbelievable driving along at 200 miles an hour, 6 inches off the tailpipe of the car in front, slipstreaming down the back straight at Monza. Honestly, it was just incredible. I was absolutely heart pumping, adrenaline, the wheel was shaking under the force feedback, the noise in my ears was deafening. I had the pit crew on the radio saying, slipstream him out, coming into the bend, and then I just pulled out. I was fucking Nigel Mansell for that second. It was just incredible. It was, in all my years of playing a game, that moment was the best gaming moment I've ever had. I mean, I can't describe how incredible it was. I was in a Formula 1 racing car, and I can't wait for the new Oculus Rift to come out in January, February next year that has high-res graphics, and I'm going to buy one on day one because it's incredible with a Rift. Absolutely. So anyway, what can you do on this? You've got a full career mode. You've got also an online mode which has race meetings that you can apply for and qualify for. You can set up your own online race meetings with your specs of what you want, what circuit you want, what weather and all the rest of it, and people can just join and you can have a full race meeting with as many laps as you want. And do you know what? Like I said, it doesn't matter what your standard of driving is, you can pick this up. Now, I've played it with the wheel for 5 hours with the wheel, and it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm probably going to buy a better wheel for this. It's worthy of a good wheel, this. So I'm probably going to do that. But because of this review, and I know there's a lot of people don't have wheels, I did plug an Xbox One controller in, and I took the car out, the same car that I've been used to, on the same circuit that I've been used to, and I was able to do a pretty good lap. There's definitive proof I'm shit with a controller. I took a Formula 1 racing car around Monza without crashing, and I was quite alright, good enough to have a really good race if I turned down the difficulty of the AI. So there's that answer. Does it work with a controller? Absolutely. You've just got to be careful. You've just got to be careful, that's all. There's also online leaderboards where you can do a time trial of any circuit in any car, and it's uploaded to the internet. Obviously the Russians will own it all after a few weeks and with times of -1 second, but at the moment it's pretty good. I'm 86th in the world on Monza in a Formula 1, which I was quite proud of considering I haven't really altered the setups of the cars. And that brings me into the setups. You can alter all kinds of stuff in the cars, from the wings, which is something that anybody who played Formula 1 Grand Prix will be familiar with, the dampeners, the suspension. You can stretch out the gearbox to make your car faster, or you can tighten it up to make it quicker off the mark. There's all kinds of stuff that you can change. You can change the balance of the brakes for oversteer, understeer, and it's got a full explanation of what each thing does, and it's well worth, if you're taking this and you're driving seriously, it's well worth getting into this because it can make all the difference in the vital seconds as you race around a circuit. But you don't need, and this is the important thing, you don't need to do any of this to still have fun in this game. I tried it with the stock settings and just turned the difficulty down, and I tweaked it so that I was still competitive with all the other cars on the circuit, and I had an amazing race. But I'm not going to settle for that. I'm going to get into all the settings, and I want to do really well on fully pro. So, but that's just for me because I do like me racing games. There's a lot of cars in this, there's a lot of circuits in this, and there's so many options for the racing as well. That's what I like about it. It's so flexible, as I've said. And you know something, and I'm going to say this because I honestly believe this. Obviously the game still needs some work. I mean, the developers have admitted that there's things that need fixing. For example, what really let it down for me was the pit lane. It takes over control as you drive into the pit lane, and I wanted to control it myself, but it takes over, and that was a bit shit. And also it's very barren, the pit lane. You don't actually see your pit crew, just the guy with the stop go lollipop, which is a bit shit considering Formula 1 Grand Prix had the full pit crews. So they need to fix that, and I'm sure they will. Rift support is going to become direct, I've heard. At the moment it can only play it in extended mode, which is a bit of an arse on, as anyone who has a Rift will know. But other than that, this game is worth having. And what I was going to say before was, if this was by some huge developer and publisher, you'd only getting half of this for your money. The rest would have been DLCs, and you know, you've got to tip your hat to these people who made this game, because for the price of this game, the amount of circuits you get and cars. I mean, seen people complaining that there's not enough cars. Fucking hell! I'll never drive all of these in a year. There's loads of them, from karting right through to Le Mans. There's old classics, there's modern ones, there's all kinds of stuff. There's more than enough cars in this for my liking. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about. This is without a doubt the best driving game ever made. There is nothing better than this that I've seen. I mean, if someone knows of a better game than this, show me. Because in my opinion, Project Cars is the definitive racing game. If you are into racing, it's amazing. If you're not into racing, get into racing just to play this game, because it is that good. It is the closest thing to Formula 1 racing I've ever seen, and I haven't even played half of the other circuits or half of the other vehicles yet. But I wanted to get this review out early, because if you're on the fence with this, just buy it. You will not regret it. This is one of the best games I've ever played, and it is by far the best racing game I've ever played. So there you go, a massive endorsement from me. This is what gaming should be. You get a hell of a lot for your money, and this is why I go on and on about these games that are released at the same price as this, and you only get a fraction of the fucking game with it. This is a breath of fresh air. Long may it continue, and I hope other developers and publishers look at this and see that if they give you value for money, people will rally to it and buy it. Don't pirate this, buy it. It's worth every penny. Definitely worth a buy.